So Facebook, they have gone and banned Press TV. They took down Press TV's Facebook page, which has about 4 million followers. And, this is not the first time, of course. So just to show you very quickly, and be careful, because it turns out that this particular article that I'm going to show you is from RT, which is Russian. Iran, Russia, Iran. In the same video. Oh, no, oh God. Dude, we got too much axis of evil going on over here. And by a Syrian too. Oh shit. They're going to drone strike the studio any second, man. Oh God. So look, man, this is from RT, right? And this happened yesterday. So Facebook bans Press TV page again. And, I'm going to show you the actual message. I'm sorry, I'm laughing at my own joke because otherwise we're going to cry. But like, seriously, I'm just the axis of evil. Go and fuck yourselves. Look at this. So I want to show you what Facebook said, right? They said over here that your account has been disabled. And they're saying that we have already reviewed this decision and it can't be reversed. So they banned all the accounts that are running the Facebook page and the Facebook page, right? So you can see down here, as I told you, they did this in January again, right? So just 2 months ago, they did this, January 12th, and now they've done it again, and they're saying it's permanent this time. And before that, in September, I think it was September 2020, Google banned Press TV, right? They revoked all of its accounts and access to services like, everything, not just YouTube, like even Gmail, like even you want to use Google Docs? No Iranians allowed. Like, what is this shit, honestly? And they cited sanctions as well, actually. So Facebook are not even giving a reason. They're not even saying why. I just showed it to you. There's no reason. It doesn't even, nothing there. There's no reason. It says nothing. So with Google, they were citing OFAC, so the Office of Foreign Asset Control, and saying that, the United States export laws and regulations prohibit the use and access to controlled information, goods, and technologies for reasons of national security or protection of trade. I mean, what is that, honestly? What is that? So you see they banned the use of Gmail, Google Drive, Google Apps, anything. And they're saying it's because, it's for government entities. And they're saying, oh, look, it's Iran state media, right? Because as you all know, everything that is not US, everything that's not the BBC, that's not New York Times, it's 100% state media, right? As if the BBC is not funded by the British government, right? As if we did not just see Reuters and Bellingcat and the BBC taking fucking contracts from the British FCO, which is the State Department in the UK, the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. Could you fucking imagine if the Iranian Foreign Ministry was giving contracts out to journalists? You would never hear the end of it. And literally, we're not hearing the end of it with Russia, right? Oh my God, Russian disinformation and how they've been organizing troll farms. Dude, Israel has troll farms and we have photos of them. Like they're proud of this. They have literal troll farms of like people that just sit in a room to like counter anything that's anti-Israeli and exposes their, crimes against Palestinians. But here, that's okay, right? Like that's totally fine. Reuters, BBC, anything mainstream media that pushes Western narrative, that's fine, right? But if it's Iranian or it's Russian, oh, we're coming down, motherfucker. And they put labels on you, right? They put like Russian state affiliated media or something. I mean, that's incredible, honestly. That's really incredible. That is honestly hilarious. You know what's, I like to think that they banned the page because of my show. I'm joking, of course, but like I know that's not true because as I've shown you, this is a concerted effort. They've been doing this for a while, right? And I mean, this is obscene. You know what's actually hilarious? I'm 100% sure, 200% sure, if I got a job at the BBC, God forbid, I would have nowhere near the same amount of control and editorial freedom that I do right now on my show on Press TV. I literally pick and choose my guests. I pick my topic. I do whatever I want. You think I could criticize Israel at the BBC? You think I could talk about this bullshit that they're doing with the Iran nuclear deal at any other place? Not in a million fucking years. So it's so hilarious how they're trying to portray this like, oh, it's state media, it's so controlled. Bull fucking shit. We got the receipts of you paying Reuters, Bellingcat, BBC to literally push anti-Russian propaganda. We know for a fact, confessions from the horse's mouth, from the CIA, telling you how they bought journalists, and they've been doing this for decades. They did this in the 53 coup in Iran. They were buying off journalists to print, anti-government things. They've been doing that all over the world, right? To make sure that Syria is vilified and put under sanctions and spread this narrative about, to push for regime change. I mean, this is something that goes back decades, man. The CIA guy that I showed you was talking about how he used to, butter up journalists, right? So he would go and become friends with them, and then he would feed them disinformation, and then he would make sure that if they went and tried to cross-check the information with the British ambassador, for example, that he would have told the British ambassador that this journalist might check with him and to feed him the same bullshit. Like, they have a whole fucking network for this, and they have the nerve then to come and do this stuff. No one is better at disinformation and at pushing state fucking media than the United States and Britain. No one. I mean, it's like, it's almost insulting. Like, no one even comes close, right? So I think that's just hilarious. And the hypocrisy is hilarious. And these motherfuckers, do I need to remind you who they work for? Google, YouTube, Facebook. These people are literally in bed with the national security state, with the NSA. This is a slide from the PRISM program about data collection. This is just what we know. This is just what we know. These are the years when all these companies joined up, right? I mean, AT&T, they even had a building with a room in it with no windows where the NSA could just come in and plug in and take whatever they want, right? So they're working hand in glove with, big tech is working hand in glove with the national security state. And so this is just pushing their agenda. Right? It's not because Press TV actually published anything that violates their community standards. And same thing with Telesur, right? Telesur English. So let me just pull this up for you. Yeah, this happened in 2018, right? And they banned Telesur's English language page and reinstated it 2 days later. And they gave 3 different reasons, and none of them made sense. They said that they violated their community standards. And then, later it turns out that it was pulled down because of suspicious activity, but the term suspicious activity doesn't even appear in their terms of service. Like, they can't even make their minds up about why they do this. And just like you saw with them banning Press TV in January, they reinstated the page afterwards, thankfully. But Google is not. And, it's just obscene how they try to claim that you have freedom of press and, journalistic freedoms and freedom of expression and opinion and a plurality, right? Diversity in Western society. And you don't really. If you say things against Israel, if you criticize their brutal treatment of Palestinians, their apartheid, their genocide and ethnic cleansing, the theft of Palestinian land, if you criticize the ideology of Zionism, which is a political ideology, they will fuck with you. They will do the real cancel culture, right? They'll try and get you fired like they're trying to do to Professor Miller at Bristol Uni, right? Or Jeremy Corbyn from the Labour Party, right? And they will shut down outlets who actually are adversarial to Israel, like Press TV, right? So, I mean, this is insane. And they turn around and claim that you have freedom of press. Really, Julian Assange? I covered his case. I know his case pretty well. There's no fucking freedom of press in the UK or in the US. I can guarantee you that, right? When you publish evidence of war crimes, when you actually challenge the government, you challenge power structures, they will put you in a fucking jail. And I stood outside that jail. I looked at it. It looks like fucking Mordor. And we know for a fact from his partner, Stella Morris, they're not even giving him his winter clothes, right? They are keeping him in a maximum security prison, a harmless, non-violent journalist who is not convicted of anything and not serving a sentence. What the fuck is he doing in any jail, let alone in a maximum security prison? Why is he not at home with his kids and with his partner? Huh? Because there is no freedom of press. If you actually challenge the US and UK governments, they will shit on you. They will shit on you. And again, you can actually go to Syria. You can actually go and interview Bashar al-Assad, the president, or you can go and interview Maduro, the Venezuelan president, or Putin, the Russian president, and you can say nasty things to their faces and then turn around and say, oh, look how brutal these countries are. They have no freedom of press. They do this all the time. Look at CNN, look at NBC, look at the BBC. Look at how they go to these countries. All of a sudden, they have a fucking spine, right? They are able to be adversarial and ask tough questions. And then as soon as they go back to the West, they tuck their tail between their legs. And they're like, yes, Mr. President, yes, Mr. President. And they ask them these softball questions. Unbelievable. So, of course, this is the way they vilify anti-imperialist outlets. This is the way that, they try to demonize anyone who goes against the imperialist bullshit that they put out of the State Department and out of Whitehall. You know, it's like the hacked label, the hacked materials label that they put under the Grayzone article, right? To try and discredit it, which it had the opposite effect because more people wanted to read it. And it's, you know, it's like, you know, put a hazard label on anything that exposes our dirty, you know, our dirty activities, our dirty laundry, and try to discredit it as being hacked or, you know, Russian disinformation. With Hunter Biden, for example, dude, the Biden family did not even deny the authenticity of those emails. No one did, right? And yet they were still claiming, the entire mainstream media was claiming it's Russian disinformation. Based on what? Based on what? Biden himself, Hunter Biden himself, Joe Biden himself have not denied the authenticity of those emails. What are you talking about? You know, and then here again, they say, oh, look, this is state-controlled media. Like they come up with these fucking excuses just to shut people up who are adversarial, who actually challenge power centers, who are actually not, you know, fucking brainwashed and feeding spoon-feeding people this pro-Israel and pro-imperialist propaganda 24/7. That's what happens, right? And you're seeing that with independent media as well. I mean, you saw how so many channels, right? Convo Couch, Nico, Graham Elwood, even Fisher, I think, who is doing, he's not even, he just films like he's a cameraman, and he, you know, he's not doing any commentary even. He's just video reporting, right? And he's on the scene, on the ground, and he covered the riots, and they still banned him. Even though his footage was used by all the other, he licensed the footage to mainstream outlets. I mean, that clearly shows you there's a bias here. Like it's okay for, you know, CNN or whichever outlet to post his fucking footage, which they licensed from him, but they ban his YouTube channel. Like, what is that? How can you not see the bias here? It's unbelievable. And you have this disgusting union between Silicon Valley, between these big tech companies and the national security state, the State Department, and they, you know, they turn around and do crap like this. And by the way, Glenn Greenwald, he was posting earlier about this hearing that they had. It's not the first one. I remember there was one a few months back with they were trying to grill Jack Dorsey, for, you know, who runs founder of Twitter, and Zuckerberg and Google about this. And you know, I just want to show you some of the tweets that Glenn posted here, because he said it's again, this is 5 hours long. I did not have the time to watch it, unfortunately. Today I will, though. But he said it's extra creepy somehow watching members of Congress sitting in their homes as they warn tech CEOs that they need to stop censoring the internet more, or else they will enact laws to regulate and force them to do it. And he says it's kind of amazing watching this tech CEO hearing. It goes from one Democrat to one Republican and back. And every Republican complains about excessive censorship online against conservatives. And every Democrat complains they're allowing too much free discourse and not censoring enough. Wow. And he says the one thing uniting everyone is utter contempt for Mark Zuckerberg and his inability to speak like a human being and answer a single question. Sometimes it's unfair. They demand yes/no answers for very complex questions. That's true, right? That's true. That is unfair. They do that a lot. But he can only robotically speechify, not converse. And you know, he kept saying things like congressman and congresswoman every single second, like a droid. You should read this thread from Glenn. It's good. And you know, he says here, quote, "I don't think we should be the arbiters of truth, and I don't think the government should be either." That's Jack Dorsey, Twitter CEO. And Glenn says it's by far the best of the three tech CEOs testifying, the other two being Facebook's Zuckerberg and Google's Pichai. So I agree with that. But unfortunately, I think there are moments, I don't know, again, I don't know Jack Dorsey personally or what his intentions and circumstances are. But, you know, there are moments where when they put a hacked materials label on you know, the Grayzone article, where I'm asking myself, well, whoa, what is that? And I think to myself, well, maybe despite, again, I don't know if he has good intentions or not, but maybe even if he does, there are moments where, you know, the government steps in and that really just, you know, they make sure that you take this channel down or this person down, or you put a label on that. And that really shows you who has the power. And you can't separate the two at this stage. I don't think that's, you know, I don't think that you can objectively look at the situation, especially given the Snowden revelations, and then come here and tell me that there's not some kind of cooperation between the two. So it's no surprise that you see them taking down channels like Press TV, taking down their Facebook page, Telesur as well. You know, anything foreign, anything that is, you know, adversarial, anti-imperialist, independent media as well, even inside the U.S. It's disgusting. But of course, they will never do that to others, like the BBC and stuff. And I'm not even saying that they should, right? That would also be objectively bad, because then you're still doing censorship. Yes, I don't like Judith Miller and her Iraq War propaganda in the New York Times, and I think she's complicit in mass murder. But I don't think that abolishing the New York Times, although yes, okay, I know some of you are going to laugh and you would love to see that, but I don't think that that would be a double standard. So the problem is that right now the double standard is in favor of corporations, right? So they're keeping the New York Times. You'll never see the New York Times get deplatformed for lying about weapons of mass destruction in Syria in 2018, and they still have their tweets up. There's no disinformation label on that, even though it's categorically proven to be false by the scientists who went there. Who is more qualified than them? Excuse me. Like, can you answer that? You can't. So they can keep that up. They can keep propaganda up. They can make the case for war and sanctions and justify mass murder. They can justify siege warfare. They can justify bombings. And that's left up. And even in the case of Donald Trump, right? They let him make threats on Twitter. He was saying, I will bomb Iran. I will bomb their cultural sites. Like, that's not even a military target. Those are UNESCO World Heritage sites. Like, that's literally a crime against humanity. Perhaps not in the legal sense under the ICC, but I consider it definitely a crime against humanity, against our collective heritage, and of course Iran's cultural and their culture, their history, and their heritage. And so they left that up. Like, he was making fucking threats on Twitter, and they left that up. Right? He was not inciting violence. He was threatening violence. That's against their terms of service. They let him do it. And it's only at the last minute, like when he's right about to leave, that all of a sudden they have an epiphany and they have a moment of clarity and they start doing their job. Right. And again, I mean, I still don't think that, as a journalist, I want to know what one of the most powerful people in the world is saying. I need to know what he's saying because I need to cover it. So I don't think that was really productive to ban him, even though he's a prick. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it just shows you their hypocrisy. They have community guidelines in terms of service, but they only actually apply them when they want to. And it's always, in favor of their national security agenda. So it's bullshit. It's bullshit. They're fucking hypocrites, man. So there you go. And please I always find this so hilarious because I don't think enough people know this, but something that would annoy me when I was a kid. It's like, you go to Syria and you couldn't go on Facebook. Facebook was banned. And I think it was something because of like, well, I don't know if this was just the reason they gave. I think it was something like because if you were living in the Golan Heights, you had to put that your country is Israel. I don't know if that's true, but regardless, let me get to my main point. Facebook, you can go on Facebook, you have to use a proxy or a VPN or YouTube, for example. I mean, everyone was going on them, but it was annoying because it was banned. And then when the Arab Spring started, where everyone was using social media to literally overthrow the government, the Syrian government unbanned everything. They're like, here you go, have it. Like, nothing is banned anymore. Just use whatever you want. And it's like, if the Syrian government is doing that and you're calling them authoritarian and then you're going and banning your own fucking president, I mean, wow. Who's authoritarian? Tell me. If these, like Glenn pointed out, if these Congress people in the US government are whining and insisting there's more censorship online, I mean, and you have the gall to turn around and call other governments authoritarian. And yes, sure, we can make critiques about other governments. I'm not saying there are none, but what a double standard, honestly, right? And remember, they say Donald Trump got banned for inciting I can't get the fucking Chuck Schumer thing out of it. For inciting an insurrection, not an erection. If Donald Trump is banned off of Twitter for inciting an insurrection, why did Twitter allow Iranians to incite an insurrection against their government? You know why? Because the State Department told them to in 2009, right? And I can bet you anything you like. They also told them to make sure that Twitter had no interruptions in 2011 and 2010 during the Arab Spring, right? So when it suits their foreign policy agenda and their national security agenda, you can incite insurrections on Twitter and Facebook, no fucking problem. In Arab countries, though, in countries we don't like, but not in the United States. Interesting double standard, right? It's worth pointing out. I think it's definitely worth pointing out. So there you go. And I think it's fucking bullshit that they banned Press TV's page. What assholes, honestly. Again, I like to think it's my show that pissed them off, but who knows? Who knows, right? I got an episode coming out after tomorrow about Israel's refusal to vaccinate Palestinians, which no one covered, unsurprisingly. And so I hope the page is reinstated so more people can see it, right, and see what Israel really is. So there you go.